Whose will are you serving? Because if you're serving the will of your highest self, you will ultimately know that every situation you're in is happening for a positive, therapeutic reason. And if someone were to ask me, whose will am I serving? I serve the will of God. And some people who become realized get it twisted. Oh, no, God, no, I am that. Yes, you are. But when it truly wakes up in you, there is no confusion that there is a God, and that is what you're serving. And the question is, how deeply have you allowed it to change you? Because I know what's on the line. I came here to get it right. And there is a getting it right. And if there wasn't a getting right, you wouldn't keep coming back, and we do, to get it right. And when you get it right, there's no describing or stopping you. Whose will are you serving? And one taste of truth will annihilate any misperception within you, and it will eradicate any amount of negotiating within you. And you will just know on the highest level what cannot be fathomed and grasped and grokked in your mind and solidified into a concept and made into a rule. It goes way beyond that. You serve the will of God. And if everything is God's will, what are we questioning? And all we're doing is using our imagination to imagine what we might miss out on and challenging that which has always held you and will always carry you along from one edge of reality to another. The will that I serve is more important than what I want personally. It's the most indescribably miraculous love you've ever known. And it will change you if you just sit still and give it a clear shot. It's aiming for you. It's gonna send its light right into your heart. All you gotta do is sit still and give God the easiest time getting you. When you're serving the will of the divine, there could be questions, curiosities. Hey, how does this work? Hey God, if I twist this lever and push this button, what happens? I shouldn't do that? Okay. But I really want to. No? Okay. Well, that's how global warming got created? Someone just twisted a lever? Oh, okay. Could you imagine? Someone in heaven, angels like, what's this do? Oh, shit. Whose will are you serving? Because here's the thing, when you're serving the will of God, and the will of God takes all the pressure off you. Because you go, you know what? Everything's gonna work out. It's gonna be fine. I just look in front of me, one foot in front of the other, making the simplest decisions. Am I in danger? Am I being threatened? Am I being mistreated? If I am, move. If not, stay still. Have a seat. Relax. And welcome everything into your heart as the will of God. You'll be surprised how little there is to process from that point of view. Because when you really surrender, do you know what goes out the door when you fully surrender? All the shit you're working on. It all gets surrendered. Because don't you work on yourself and work on yourself and work on yourself, then you get to optimal frequency for like 2 days at best. For 2 days, you're like, I did it. Boy, look at this. Go parade yourself to your friends. Check this out. Activated light body. Look who's ascending. I did it right, y'all. Maybe I should create my own certification program. And then after the third day, it starts to kind of wax and wane, and you're like, oh my God, what's happening? Oh my God, am I going into a lower vibrational tailspin? Is the Illuminati doing this to me? That's what it is. I became too powerful, and they went, we cannot have this. They're becoming too powerful. They were going to be taken out of power. Mix up their chakras. Spin them around. Do you know how self-indulgent it is? To think that a secret group that is supposedly taking over the entire world is threatened by you. I guess I was shining too bright. And the Illuminati people are threatened by me. That's why I'm not a New York Times bestselling author. Those guys did it. And then all of a sudden things creep back in, and your conditioning creeps back in, and you go, oh my God, I had it, I got it. What happened? Here's the reality. The reality is you do work on yourself, you do make headway, and it all is for a great purpose. But in the end, if we want to talk endgame is you'll work on things, you'll make great headway, and it's all for a purpose. But you'll never quite get it all completely healed. Because what heals it all is saying, everything that I've made into a 20,000 lifetime process and project, which is the project called me, I'm just gonna hand over. I'm gonna hand it back to that which created it and say, I think you were doing a good job all along. I'm done picking at this. I'm done jabbing this and dissecting it under a microscope. Sorry for that. Didn't mean to tear apart your creation, put some Band-Aids all over it. My bad. Here you go. You were doing a fantastic job all along. I'm just gonna let go. And I'm going to just know that everything is gonna work out. If it's not today, it's gonna be tomorrow, it's gonna be next week. It's gonna work out sometime. And I'm just going to allow this to be a mystery instead of a psychological thriller. And I'm going to accept the fact that I don't know where the hell I'm going. I don't know what any of this is. And even as I say it, it's kind of pleasant. I'm gonna let go and allow that which brought me here carry me through. And that is an endgame called relief. Whose will are you serving? Because the will of that which you are serving, because you're given the freedom of will, so when you are ready for the endgame and the deeper journey, you can use your will to choose to serve the will of that which is serving you. It's an endgame I call freedom from healing. Because even when you heal, they're still being caught in the managing your healing tailspin. And you never quite get to the other side of it. So if you want an endgame, hand yourself back to that which brought you here and serve that which is serving you. And maybe take the bold leap and say, you know what? Maybe it's gonna go my way, maybe it never will. I just can't take this anymore. And not, I can't take it anymore to go back to heaven and take your own life. I can't live like this. I can't live like this. I can't live like this telling myself that I'm only gonna be happy when certain things happen. I'm done. It's nauseating, it doesn't make any sense, and it can't be the way life works. So I'm gonna teach myself the way life works by handing myself back. Surrender. I'm done. Not I'm done being me, I'm done denying me. I'm done denying me. And there's no better way to deny you than to be lost in what you're chasing. Because you can't seek what you desire and appreciate who you are right now at the same time. There's a choice to be made. And when you appreciate who you are, you have relief from seeking. And when you seek, you forget to be grateful for what you already are. And we're running away from surrender. Whose will are you serving? And what surrender looks like is the willingness to enjoy the mystery and unfolding of life, free of the negotiation that did nothing but exhaust you. And it exhausted you to break you down so that you had no other impulse but to surrender. And what distracts from that process is the belief that something different on the outside is gonna make you feel better or different. Only temporarily. And it's only temporarily because it's the new car smell, it's newness. Newness creates temporary perceptions of euphoria called contrast, where something momentarily feels different than the way it used to be, or it looks different, and by contrast, it must be better. That's just a moment of euphoria. That's a state change. That's us feeling the elegance of this breeze right now, and we couldn't feel the breeze unless we were oppressed by the heat all day. Whose will are you serving? There's just a moment where you realize, holy shit, I'm done. I am done. And life's gonna be amazing, and things are gonna go my way, and things won't go my way. It's gonna be good, it's gonna be bad, it's gonna be up, it's gonna be down. I am done playing a game of hide and go seek with my own divinity. And that's when something real opens up inside of you and of every human being. Something real opens up inside you. Let everyone else fight for what they want. Let everyone else fight to be number one. Let everyone else fight for whatever they're going to fight for. You have found truth. You have found freedom. You have found peace. You have found the doorway that leads to freedom from healing. You have entered the afterlife without needing to ditch your body first. And what I'm talking about is not the beginning of the end. It is merely the end of the beginning. And the end of the beginning is when life says, you've been prepared, now it's time for the real journey. Whose will are you serving? Because when you're serving the will of the creator that you are on the trajectory of resolution. And the journey then becomes many things, one of which is learning how to live like this. And the easiest way to live like this is to wonder how the hell you lived the other way for so long. How the hell did I make it here in one piece living like that? Prior to awakening, life is spiritual childhood. The awakening process is spiritual adolescence. The surrendering of yourself and the integration of awakening is spiritual adulthood. And the integration of enlightenment is spiritual rebirth, transcendence. That's why everything's so topsy-turvy. Because life is saying, this will be so much more exciting if you just hand yourself over. Doesn't mean you don't care for yourself physically. It's just you're not lost in being afraid for yourself, concerned for yourself. Where am I going? What am I going to do? Am I going to like it? Am I really going to like it? Am I going to like it forever, for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 2 years, 1 year, 3 years? Oh my God, you told me this would only last for 1 year. What if it was a leap year? Maybe I got another one. The invitation of surrender would be so much easier if God was just so direct, saying, are you done messing with yourself? Once you fully surrender, that's when the real journey starts. So I'm helping to prepare you for the real journey. What you've done is real, it's been beneficial and necessary. But it's time to move on from practice to real journey. You'll still have desires once you're surrendered. Just won't have as much of a grip on you. It's kind of like, wouldn't it be neat if this happened? And if it does, that's cool. If not, oh well. And when you live in that space, you're no longer attracted to opportunity. You're attracted to alignment. It's not just, ooh, this could happen. Ooh, that would be exciting. Look what I could get away with. It's having attracted to opportunity and what you can get away with. Right? When you're ego, it's what can I get away with? When you are aligned in God consciousness, it's I only want things to unfold in alignment. I only want to attract things under the highest level of ethics. Like I said earlier, it's been my childhood dream to be a New York Times bestselling author, and I will only experience that under the most authentic of terms. There are certain ways you can work an algorithm or marketing to circumvent a system. I don't want to know anything about that. I write a good book, people buy it, and if I'm meant to have that credential, I'll have it. In God's hands, not mine. Things are either 100% aligned or they're not. And if I'm meant to have the experience, it will circle back around like it will for you. But are you willing to take the journey of courage and saying, I'm going to say yes to alignment, and if it's not what feels totally right in my heart, not good enough for me. Hold that boundary for yourself and watch the things you create and attract. That goes for dating, jobs, all that stuff. And the more you evolve in consciousness, the less you can tolerate choices of opportunity instead of alignment. In other words, whose will are you serving? This is how you get set free. And here we are, in a brand new dimension, a dimension called relief and simplicity. And you're starting to touch into a very high level teaching that says, if you think it felt good having a desire, now you're going to experience how incredible it feels to move beyond desire. Desire isn't wrong, but if you think having a desire and chasing it is exciting, you can't even imagine how incredible it is when you move beyond that. You're going to have desires still, you just don't need them, because you know whose will you're serving. You're not the servant of other people's egos. You are the doorway through which heaven's light enters this realm. At this vibration, there's no such thing as illusion. There is only degrees of truth. There's no conflict. Therefore, what resolution is needed? Remember earlier when I said there's a dimension where cause and effect doesn't exist? In that same dimension, so there's a dimension where you start remembering your past lives. That happens for people. They remember what planet they're from. And then you ascend into dimensions where cause and effect disappear. And you know what else disappears? All those past lives that you remembered. Even that goes. There's even a dimension of reality where even past life was an epic saga. Just another bigger movie. In this dimension, astrological influences stop affecting you. You become incapable of being inconvenienced. There's just service. And you have to be compassionate enough to know how to relate to people at the various levels of reality as that which created you. That's what you're becoming. You're becoming that which created you, which essentially you already are. But that's like the seed saying, I already am a flower on the inside. I shouldn't have to go through the blossoming process. Oh, but you are a flower on the inside, but you'll never know what it's like to be the flower until you're planted underground, sprout roots, break through the soil. So you're becoming that which you already are. You're becoming one with that which created you. You. And at this dimension that I'm transmitting right now, there isn't anything to hold on to mentally. And sometimes that could be a little mesmerizing. You go, how do I hold this? How do I control this, right? How do I put it in my little jar, like a butterfly, a little twig? You don't hold it. There's nothing to keep straight. At this dimension, there's no confusion. Clarity is not something that you assert for you to figure out to be in control of, right? There's no more subtle form of control that I'm trying to control my clarity, what I understand. I don't get it. Not enough. I don't get it until I say I get it. It's not how it works. Clarity is not the things you understand in mind. Clarity is a space in which confusion dies. There are times to ask questions, and I always answer questions all the time. But if you think asking a question is going to give you clarity, if you want the highest level of clarity, hand your question back to that which created it. Because all your questions are basically different forms of, am I okay? Yes. Are things going to be okay? Yes. Is everyone going to be okay? Yes. Am I doing it right? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. Totally sure? Yes. That was a 5-second dialogue I did with someone, and I didn't expect this, but their mind blew up in 5 seconds. They said, Matt, do you ever have questions? Yes. What did you do with them? I gave them back. You did what? You gave them back? Yeah. Why? Because all they did was confuse me. And all it did was convince me that I needed to know something I didn't already know. I thought, well, that's distracting. And I gave it back, and I said, thanks for the toy. Don't need that. And that's when God said, oh, a new master is here. Have you ever noticed how the answering of one question only leads to another? Oh, I just want to ask you one more thing, Matt. Okay, I just got one more thing. No, you said one more thing. No, but it was a 2-part question. I didn't say that. Oh, that's a 2-part question. And we got 2A and 2B, right? And they walk away. Come back, okay, just one more thing. Just one more thing. Isn't that kind of like being a kid and asking your mom or dad, there's 5 more minutes and then I'll wake up. 5 more minutes and I'll totally wake up, I swear to God. Honey, you said that 5 negotiations ago. It's now been 20 minutes. I know, but every time I dive in, I can't quite get back to the dream until about 10 seconds before you wake me up again. I know, honey, that's how it works. You can't get back to the dream. You can only wake up and dream differently. So I'm not saying questions aren't important because I answer a lot of them and it turns into dialogues and it's fireworks. What if you took the most burning question and just handed it back? Like there's a fire in the middle of this area right here. And you thought, you know what is better use of this question than me trying to figure it out? I'm going to put it in this fire right here. I'm going to let the blaze get bigger. Take your deepest burning question, put it in the fire of true clarity. A clarity that will only wake up in you the moment your question is gone. Because would you agree that one who lives in a true state of clarity doesn't have the questions that they had before? Therefore, if you surrender the questions you have, you're going to find yourself in a space as that which has already been clarified. But you think, I can't let go of the question until I get the clarity. But the truth is, you cannot get the clarity until you surrender the question. That is enlightenment. And then you go, oh my God, I totally had a question. I thought my life depended on it. And the question is wonderful, but it was just a chew toy for my ego. Yes, you're doing this right. Yes, you're okay. Yes, you're going to be okay. You'll always be okay. Everyone will be okay. The world's going to be okay. Love will always win. Environmental hazards reverse themselves as consciousness wakes up. Did you know there was a soul contract to allow a creation like the Illuminati that said you could have whatever fictitious control of an imagined planet you want, and you can have control until the tipping point of consciousness wakes up? And the arrogance was, well, it's going to take 1,000,000 years for that to happen, so we have a long time to be in control. And now there's a lot of shock and awe behind the scenes. And as consciousness in the front lines is waking up at a fast rate, behind the scenes, there's a lot of change going on. And all I'm going to say to you about that is if you can tune in vibrationally, like the way I can, after 9/11, there was a certain point where I could feel there were things out in this atmosphere guarding and keeping certain things asleep and in a state of duality and keeping certain things not known. And I will tell you that the things that used to guard aren't there anymore. The things that used to guard and keep the veil thick and dense isn't there anymore. There has been a huge hole created in the veil of consciousness, of unconsciousness, and light is pouring in through that. And the people that behind the scenes used to be in control are scrambling and turning on each other. And one of the main reasons I believe that Donald Trump was made president was to distract people with a goofy ass person while behind the scenes things are worked out. Sure, he's doing some pretty scary things. Why is Donald Trump doing scary things? To coerce and motivate and inspire humanity to come together, to stand up for what they believe in, and to say, no. What this world doesn't know how to do is after we have a conscious discussion of what is not working, it does not lead to conscious action. And so that is why there is consciousness waking up in every human being, so we can go from conscious thought to conscious action without bottling it up from conscious thought, refusing to take conscious action. Then it becomes this revolutionary expression. And someone like Donald Trump, again, I don't have an opinion negative or whatever. I see it as a catalyst of greater consciousness awakening. And the one thing you can afford to do to increase the likelihood of a tipping point for others to wake up in consciousness is to stop being afraid of unconsciousness. Because unconsciousness is just desperate survival mode that comes from those that don't know how to meet their own emotional needs. And when you've decided whose will you're serving, you will not be distracted by what you see. You will be the solution to everything in sight. If there are things you see you don't agree with, shine brighter. And someone will say, well, how is that helping to rescue children? And I would say, and how many children have you rescued complaining on Facebook? Everyone has a different role to play. I'm a part of an energetic solution. I'm a part of a very specific program like you. I know who I work for. I work for the light. There's just a certain way the light resolves things, and you have to trust it. Because if the light could just step in one fell swoop and just make all this disappear, it will have existed for no reason. And all the people who have given their lives for all that's been created will have lived for no purpose. There's a reason this is unfolding a certain way, because we're learning and growing and evolving as a species while it's being resolved. And if you fast forward the DVD just to get to the ending, you're going to see the positive, happy ending, and then you're going to go to the credits and go, oh my God, now that I know it works out, let me go do it again and live it out slowly so I could really experience it. And that's why we keep coming back. So trust me when I say it all works out. It all works out. And this is a vibration in which it all works out. It's a reality, a vibration where there's only one solution. There's only one option, and that option is unity, healing, rebirth, transcendence, expansion, ascension. A lot of us have been sensing there's like this countdown of like, oh my God, there's a window of awakening and the time is drawing near and I don't know if I'm gonna make the window. The countdown to ascension is not for you to think, am I gonna make the window? The countdown is for them to surrender. And the agreement is when consciousness awakens, you have a certain period of time to come out with your hands up, or we will go in and find you. And that's what's happening right now behind the scenes. So please fear not. Something big is happening. When 9/11 happened, you had the energy of these invisible things watching you and following you, and the weird energy. That's not there anymore. That's been obliterated. Consciousness is not going to win. Consciousness is already winning. It just doesn't come with a timeline, because life is teaching us the outside does not determine the inside. Even that's a teaching.